Hi, welcome again to the mysterious night before Christmas. It's a look at the famous story that most of us are familiar with and we've heard as we celebrate Christmas each and every year. So, who wrote the thing? Well, that's a good question. See, the authorship of the night before Christmas is the literary family feud, kind of like who makes the mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving. It is a battle where two different groups have their favorite choice of author. One of the contenders is the one who is most usually and universally recognized. His name, Clement Clarke Moore. Maybe that's the one you're familiar with. The one that you're not so familiar with is a man by the name of Henry Livingston Jr. Picture them like the Christmas version of a heavyweight boxing match. But instead of boxing gloves, they each have a pen and an inkwell, and they're duking it out. See, Clement Clarke Moore was a scholar, and he had a penchant for poetry. And he claimed the title after the poem was published anonymously in 1823. So make sure you understand that. The poem came out anonymously in 1823, and he decided in 1844 to claim it as his own. He basically declared, yep, I was the one who brought you that jolly old elf. I'm the author of the story. And for a long time, people believed that. Meanwhile, Henry Livingston Jr., a lesser-known poet with a flair for humor, has his own supporters, like a team of elves trying to convince Santa that he really does need to hit the treadmill every once in a while. It is that battle that has continued to rage, that has been picked up by literary scholars who have taken the time to delve into the style, the background, personalities, the family connections, and the arena that these two men wrote in. See, the debate rages on. For the most part, it's left literary scholars scratching their heads and Christmas enthusiasts arguing over cups of spiked cider. Who really wrote The Night Before Christmas? The answer is just as elusive as Santa's elves on a foggy night. But the debate over The Night Before Christmas between Clement Clarke Moore and Henry Livingston Jr. illustrates the complexities of how we get along in our world and culture today. See, each contender brings their own unique perspective and talent. If you go back and look at history, Mr. Moore was a man who had more of a surly personality. He didn't have an affinity for children. He, on a number of occasions, seemed to be more bothered by children and the shenanigans than he was a kind, caring, gentle, fatherly grandfather figure. Even some of his poems and writings had some pretty strong ways to discipline children. Livingston, on the other hand, was a much more congenial, funny, laid-back, humorous kind of guy, good-natured, someone that you would like to sit around and talk with. And both of those men look like they could be the author of this particular poem. At the end of the day, we may never know the truth, as each family and the descendants of each man has claimed ownership and authorship of the poem itself. But the mystery as to finding the identity brings us to a moment where we can all think about the importance of knowing how we need to be identified. Where do you find your identity? See, Christmas comes along, and one of the reasons we celebrate Christmas is because Jesus arrives, and as Savior, he gives us a way to identify our life. You and I are people, because of Christmas, who have the opportunity to identify as children of God because of his gift of love on that first Christmas. And so my hope for you as you move through this Christmas season is that you will, sure, ponder who wrote The Night Before Christmas. And if you really want to mess people up, say it was written by a man by the name of Livingston and see what kind of reaction you get. But at the end of the day, hopefully, Christmas means to you as a follower the gift of a Savior on that very first Christmas morning in Bethlehem. And that's where you begin to find the identity that you use to live life every day. We're going to come back next time and continue to dive into the mysterious night before Christmas.